Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are so excited that you're part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. If you haven't already done it, please make sure to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, on iTunes, on iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcast. We have a wonderful guest, and that's why you want to subscribe. You don't want to miss any wonderful guests like today's guest. Her name is Lori Walmark, and she is the author of Heddy Lamarr's Double Life. Hey, before Lori comes in, I just want to ask you, how did you sleep last night? Did you get a good night's sleep? Maybe you're worried about work, or maybe you're worried about the kids, or maybe you're sleeping on an old mattress and you need something new. Well, we're really excited. We have a brand new sponsor. The folks at Dream Cloud would like to help give you the best night's sleep of your life. Please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com/sleep. readingwithyourkids.com/sleep. Our friends at Dream Cloud are so confident that you will love their mattress. They're willing to give you a 365-night trial. Sleep all 4 seasons before deciding that Dream Cloud is right for you. They have an ever-long warranty. Maintain a premium experience over a lifetime, and it comes with free shipping and returns. Financing is available. You're going to find out that it's really affordable. And check this out. They have a New Year's sale that's still going on. $200 off when you purchase a mattress. Check it out today by going to our website, readingwithyourkids.com/sleep. Get the best sleep ever and support the podcast by going to readingwithyourkids.com/sleep. I am really excited for this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. I love STEM, and I love learning about STEM and new things. And today we have a guest on whose new book is set to come out soon. It's called Heddy Lamarr's Double Life. Please welcome to the show, Lori Walmark. Lori, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited. We've had so many fantastic STEM authors on the show, and they're fascinating, and I always learn something. And Heddy Lamarr, I'm old enough to be familiar with that name and know that she was a beautiful film star and actress. But she's a little bit before my time, but I was very much aware of her. But she also has this double life that I'm just now hearing about. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. First, to tell you what the double life is. Of course, one side is the glamorous actress, the most beautiful woman in the world, supposedly. But she loved inventing things. She was curious. She kept an inventor's workshop in her house. And the technology that she co-invented helps keep our GPS, Wi-Fi, anything broadband from being hacked. And that's pretty important, our cell phones.
Yeah, and that's pretty incredible. Now, again, we're mentioning, I'm getting close to 100, and, she had her heyday before me. I was a kid, and I heard that name, and my grandfather used it and everything. So she was helping to discover this before we really had Wi-Fi and GPS.
And one of the reasons we hadn't heard about her is she was very patriotic. She was a new citizen. She wasn't born here in the U.S. And she wanted to help our government. So she gave the patent over to the Navy. They classified it secret, didn't use it, but because it was secret, no one else could use it either.
Wow. Now, is that the only reason we don't know of her genius off the screen?
Well, to get on my soapbox a little bit, I write about, as I call them, dead women in STEM, because there's so many women in our history, other countries' histories, who have made such great discoveries, and they've been attributed to their husband or to their brother, or just sort of squashed along the way. And I think that may be part of it also, that Here she had one reputation, a beautiful actress. So you couldn't be two things at once, right? You couldn't be both a great actress or, well, an actress, let's say, and also a brilliant inventor. People don't like that story.
Wow. And I can't wrap my head around that because I love that story. To me, that's amazing. And I think it's something that should be celebrated. And, very, very frustrating, that kind of attitude prevailed. And I guess in some areas it still kind of prevails today.
Well, one of the reasons I'm so excited about this particular book, in addition to, of course, all my other books about women in STEM, is because it shows kids that you don't have to choose one way. You could be an artist and be smart. You could be a football player and like math. You don't have to choose one way.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so important, especially now, because I see a lot of kids that are, especially in relation to sports, that are really encouraged to specialize at an incredibly young age. And it's not, again, when I was growing up, it was like if you're a football star, but you played football in the fall and you played hockey in the winter, you played basketball, you played baseball in the spring, and you were encouraged to do other things and to really kind of be a well-rounded athlete. And, I went to a high school where you had to also be a scholar or you weren't allowed to be an athlete. And I struggled to get back on the field sometimes. But, I worry that the kids are just not getting that message to be well-rounded and to play football and baseball and to read and to dance and to, just be a whole person.
Exactly. That, and also, in particular for scientists, there's a picture people have of a scientist. Of course, white male is the big part of the picture, but someone in a lab coat who does nothing else. And this book helps dispel that notion.
Yeah. So it's an important message for not only girls, to let them know that they can get into STEM fields, and not only non-white kids, and help them understand that they can get into STEM fields, but also the kids.
Everyone
who are
needs to know.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've asked other folks this, where do you think this prejudice came from?
Okay. I have sort of 3 reasons that kids are not embracing STEM. So this isn't even specifically just about the prejudice, but the prejudice is one of them. But it's a broader question, a prejudice against science and math. And the first one is just lack of access. Because if our poor schools can't have money to fix the roof, they're certainly not bringing in visiting scientists and being able to take field trips to science museums. So that's one of them. Another one is, of course, that prejudice, that we have this image in our mind of what a scientist looks like. Girls shouldn't be scientists. Underrepresented minorities shouldn't be scientists. And you're told that at such an early age that it becomes part of you, which is one of the reasons I write picture books, because I want to catch kids at that early age. But the third reason, and this one's just sad to me because I so love science and math, is lack of interest. And it's certainly okay not to be interested in science and math. People have different interests. But if that lack of interest is because they weren't exposed to the fun side, the creative side of science and math, if all they're doing are, times tables and memorizing things, no one's going to go into science and math because that isn't fun. But it really is exciting. And I think we're doing a better job in the schools now with maker spaces and doing experiments to show kids and increase that interest that kids might might have. Not all of them. Again, it's still okay to not like it after you've been properly exposed.
You bring up a whole lot of ideas, and I want to touch on each one of them. One of the things that kind of hit me and it reminded me, I think that that's not supporting STEM or not valuing it. I think it not only is happening in our poor schools, but I think in some cases it's even happening in some of our universities. When my daughter was checking out universities and visiting different campuses, we happen to have we host international students, and so a medical student from Italy was living with us at the time, and she was coming around to a number of different universities, and we went on a 3-week tour of universities all over the eastern United States. And after about the 4th or 5th one, this student turned to me and she said, "Every tour we go on, all we see is the cafeteria and the rock wall and the laundromat that texts you when your clothes are done. We haven't seen a lab. We haven't met a professor. What are these colleges valuing here?" And that really kind of opened up my eyes.
That really is an interesting point. I have a very sad statistic to give to you.
Okay.
When I graduated college, back when dinosaurs roamed the earth, I went directly into computer programming. Both my daughters are software engineers. There are few women in computer programming, or software engineering as it's now called now, than there were when I graduated. So we've gone the wrong way.
Wow. Now, one of the things, and I'm not asking this to challenge you.
Why not?
Well, no, because I don't have enough knowledge in this area, and I'm on the side of getting kids involved in STEM, no matter who they are, no matter what race they are, no matter what gender they are. But I don't remember, perhaps it's because it happened so long ago, but I don't remember being in school and hearing that girls can't be scientists. When I was in school as a kid, elementary and middle school, it was the girls who were the smart kids, and they were the ones who were doing great.
I've got a great story for you then.
Okay.
When it was time to go to high school, they hold an assembly for the parents and the kids to tell them what high school is like. And my mother got up and asked the principal, "What advanced math classes do you have in the high school?" And the principal said to my mother, "Do you have a boy or a girl?" She said, "A girl," since it was me. And the principal of the high school said, "Well, then it doesn't matter. She won't take them anyway."
Well, I mean, okay.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't experience that, and I actually went to an all-boys high school. So yeah, I didn't go to that assembly. I don't remember it happening. I don't doubt it for a minute, because this is something I hear, and it's horrific, and I just can't imagine. And we had a guest on the show not too long ago who wrote a book called Breaking the Barriers, and she was one of the first girls who was allowed to play Little League baseball. And one of the things I was sharing with her is that the best baseball player in our neighborhood was my cousin Darlene. So the idea that girls could play sports and be smart, that was something I always grew up with. It was
and
like,
it's true. We all have different experiences. Yeah. Different communities have different experiences. Different schools have different experiences. But you're more likely to have noticed the problem if you are in an underrepresented minority in whatever field it is.
Absolutely. So why do you think it is? So you said something pretty shocking to me that there are fewer software engineers now than there were when you got into the field. We're going backwards in our attitudes? We have less opportunities for women now?
I'll tell you why I thought it was,
okay,
which apparently is not correct. I thought it was because back when I was in school, very few schools had computer science majors. So we majored in different things. I majored in biochemistry. You didn't have to choose to major in computer science, whereas now, of course, you do. Apparently, that's not the answer. The answer is that because more boys than girls were playing with computers, becoming used to comfortable with computers, trying out things with computers, coding, that they arrived at college in a much better place, and it was much easier for them to say, oh, I want to continue doing this than the girls.
Okay.
But there is hope. Harvey Mudd College is an engineering school out in California. In fact, one of my daughters went there. And the president of Harvey Mudd College, Maria Klawa, she made it her business to try and increase that number of women in computer science. And now in a school that is more male than female, more women than men are taking computer science. So it can be done. It just needs to be approached correctly.
Excellent. Excellent. Now, I love the fact that you're introducing kids to these fields through picture books. Talk a little bit about the kind of how parents can use your picture books and the kind of conversations they can have that are supportive of sparking their kids' interest, whether they're girls or boys, in the STEM fields.
Well, one thing they can do is go to my website, and if you click on the teachers tab, it's really teachers/parents, but there isn't room for the /parents on the tab. And there are teacher guides for all the books. And these have activities that you can use that go along with the books. There's a STEM activity guide. I have word searches, math and computer word searches. So you can download any of these things. And the activities, some are more teacherly. They are teacher guides. But some really are just fun activities that you can do. The game of Guess Your Friend's Birthday is on there. So that's one thing you can do. But I think the biggest thing you can do is expose your children to a variety of people, the stories of a variety of people doing science. People who look like them, people who don't look like them, to show that it's for everyone.
Very, very, very important. And I love that you're including parents in that, encouraging parents to check out the teacher guides, because one thing that I always like to remind parents is that you are your child's first and most important teacher. And some people go, but what if they're not good teachers? And if they're not showing interest in their kids? I go, well, then they're still the most important teacher, because they're teaching them something we don't want them to learn. But so if you're on an author's website and you see those teacher guides and you're a parent, click on that, because you are just as capable as a teacher of taking that information and sharing it with your kids and doing fun things that go beyond just the books. So
and most of them are fun. Like I say, a few things here and there. And this is true of every author's website and teacher guide. A few really are ones that you would want to do with an entire class. But a lot of them are just activities. I did not make up my own teacher guides because I wouldn't be able to. A teacher made up my teacher guides. A teacher who knows students, who knows children, and knows what can engage their interest.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about Heddy Lamarr's Double Life. What other scientists that have you written about in the past?
Okay, my first book was about Ada Byron Lovelace, as in Lord Byron's daughter. Oh. So we're talking the 1800s, and she was the world's first computer programmer. So again, you might think, there were no computers back then. Her friend Charles Babbage had designed a computer, never built it because he ran out of money, but he designed a computer, and she wrote a program to figure out a complicated mathematical number. They're called Bernoulli's numbers. And that's why we call her the world's first computer programmer. Wow. So that's one person, Ada Byron Lovelace and the Thinking Machine. And then my next person, Grace Hopper, Queen of Computer Code. Grace was the first person to use words like multiply and divide in her programs instead of ones and zeros. So now you didn't have to be a mathematician. You didn't have to be an engineer to program computers. She paved the way for the fact that now our children can program computers. So the first two were computer scientists because that's my background,
Right.
but I've now branched out into other areas of science and math.
Wow, this is really, it's really kind of blowing my mind to think that there's someone working on computers back in the 1800s. It makes me think, it makes me wonder what new amazing technology is sort of almost there that people are working on that just hasn't been fully completed yet.
Oh, absolutely, because people can think it, they can design it in their heads, but we might not have the technology to have, say, light enough metal to support whatever that contraption is going to be, or a way to get it cold enough without the metal cracking, or I'm just making these up as I go along, but we might not have the technology needed to match the person's invention yet, but we will.
And, as you're mentioning that, I'm thinking, what a great lesson to teach our kids is, that there are ideas that are out there that might be floating around inside our kids' brains that are just waiting for the right opportunity to take root and to grow and just need the right kind of connections with other people, with other talented people to kind of work together to make those ideas a reality.
Absolutely. The other thing that some of these picture books show is people overcoming obstacles to be able to achieve their goals. Ada Lovelace was bedridden for 3 years because of measles, but yet she continued on. Grace Hopper was also an admiral in the Navy, but to get into the Navy, it took her a year because they said she was too skinny and too old. A brilliant woman, she skipped 3 grades in grade school, high school, and then failed her Latin exam, so couldn't go to college that year. So we're showing kids that you can recover from a failure. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
And I think that's another important lesson, in addition, of course, to learning a little bit about science.
Absolutely. And I think it's an important lesson for parents to hear also, so they can allow their kids to fail and not think that it's the end of the world.
Right.
I love the expression that, every failure is just brings you one step closer to success.
Though it doesn't feel so at the time.
Absolutely. So the Heddy Lamarr's Double Life is going to be with us soon. Are there any other women in science or any other scientists that you're working on?
I have several more on the horizon. Okay, so Heddy comes out in February 2019. Then in spring of 2020, I have a book called Numbers in Motion. Sophie I'm not quite sure of the subtitle, but it includes her name, Sophie Kovalevsky. And Sophie, the math that Sophie did is the math of planets whirling and how we can calculate things like that. So it's very accessible to kids to understand. You think of a spinning top. That's the math she did.
Wow.
So that book is coming out in 2020. Then I have a secret scientist coming out in 2021 that I can't talk about yet because it hasn't been announced.
Okay. All right.
But I'm working on a few others. I keep an ongoing list, and people send me names all the time. It's really funny. Lori, did you see this? Lori, did you see this person?
Well, you mentioned folks visiting your website. Tell us remind us the address of the website so folks can go there and check out those great teacher resources.
I'm lucky that I have an unusual enough name that my website is just lauriewalmark.com. Riewallmark.com.
LaurieWallmark.com. So definitely you want to visit. It is a really, really cool website. You can find out about Ada Byron Lovelace and the Thinking Machine, Grace Hopper and the Queen of Computer Science. And shortly you'll be learning a little bit more about Heddy Lamarr's Double Life. And I think it'd be kind of cool to kind of sit down and after you read Heddy Lamarr's Double Life to maybe check out some of her old movies.
Well, and the other thing you can check out with Heddy is Susan Sarandon just produced a documentary about her called Bombshell, and it's now on PBS, it's now on Netflix, and it's fascinating.
Excellent. Bombshell. We'll have to check that out. Well, I've had a blast speaking to you today, and I can't wait for your next visit because there's so much going on. I can't wait for you to come back and tell us about your next projects.
Oh, I'd love to come back. This has been a pleasure.
Our guest today has been Laurie Wallmark. Make sure you check out her website, LaurieWallmark.com. Check out her books and get ready to check out her new book, Heddy Lamarr's Double Life. Laurie, thanks so very much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We have two wonderful guests. Brian Dwyer will be here to tell us about his really unique series of books. They combine music, classic music, and illustrations and text, and it's just fascinating. And we're also going to have on Jonathan Massalinas. It's going to be a great show. Please do not miss it. Hey, if you are the author of a great children's book, you may want to check out our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program. It's helped an awful lot of people get discovered, like Dr. Linda Mubarak. She credits the Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program with helping her book become nominated for the Henri Award, which is a very prestigious award for children's books in Christian literature or Christian children's book. And I'm not exactly sure how it goes, but it's a great award. And Dr. Linda Mubarak was very excited, and she's very grateful that we helped her book get discovered. Kimberly Ballou, her book was discovered through our Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program. She wrote that wonderful book when Durante's father went to prison. That book was discovered by a association of librarians serving at-risk youths, and they put her book on their recommended reading list. And what a great honor that was, and a really great help to let people know about her book. We would love to do the same for you. Please visit our website, readingwithyourkids.com. You can click on the Certified Great Reads button at the top of the page. You can check out the books that have earned that wonderful status, and you can also find out how you can submit your book to our panel of parents, educators, and kids to see if your book can earn that Certified Great Read status. The Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read program at our website, readingwithyourkids.com. Hey, I want to thank Laurie Wallmark for being here today. Make sure you check out her book, Heddy Lamarr's Double Life. And we also want to thank you. We know that you're leading a double life or a triple life or a quadruple life. You're doing so many things for so many different people. We're really, really happy that you can take time to be with us. And we're also really, really happy that you always take time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. We'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.